Hello friends, how are you? Shall we start our class today? So let's go. Clara stood in the dimly lit library, dust motes dancing in the beams of sunlight streaming through the windows. She was helping her grandmother, Sophia, reorganize shelves filled with books that had seen better days. As her fingers skimmed over the worn covers, something unusual caught her eye. A small yellowed envelope wedged between two ancient volumes. Curiosity sparked, and she gently pulled it free. The envelope was brittle with age, its edges frayed. Written in elegant cursive was a name she didn't recognize, Thomas Allen. Inside, Clara found a letter. The ink had faded, but the heartfelt words still resonated. It spoke of love, longing, and a promise left unfulfilled during the turbulence of World War II. Her heart raced as she read. The emotions in the letter felt raw and powerful, as though they had been written just yesterday. Who was this Thomas? And why had her grandmother kept this letter hidden for so long? Clara clutched the envelope, determined to uncover the story behind it. Clara couldn't wait another moment. With the letter still in her hand, she approached her grandmother, who was seated by the window, knitting in the soft afternoon light. The sight of Sophia's calm expression made Clara hesitate, but curiosity soon overcame her doubt. "Grandma," Clara began carefully, holding up the envelope, "I found this in one of the old books. Do you know anything about it?" Sophia's hands froze mid-stitch. Her eyes focused on the envelope, and a mixture of surprise and nostalgia clouded her face. She took a deep breath and gestured for Clara to sit beside her. "This letter," Sophia started softly, her voice trembling. "It's from Thomas Allen. He was a soldier I met when I was young. During the war." Clara leaned in, hanging on every word. Sophia spoke hesitantly at first, but as memories resurfaced, her voice grew stronger. She described meeting Thomas in a small town, their brief but passionate connection, and the promises they made before he was called away to serve. "We were so young," Sophia said, her eyes misty. "But the war, it changes everything. I never saw him again. This letter was the last I received from him." Clara's heart ached at the weight of her grandmother's words. Seeing the pain and longing still evident after so many decades, she knew she had to do something. "I want to help you, Grandma," Clara said firmly. "I'll find out what happened to Thomas. You deserve closure after all these years." Sophia looked at her granddaughter, a bittersweet smile on her lips. "Thank you, my dear. But some things are better left in the past." Clara didn't agree. The letter had found its way into her hands for a reason, and she was determined to uncover the truth. Clara sat at her desk that evening, the letter from Thomas carefully placed next to her laptop. The soft glow of the screen lit up her determined face as she began her search. Where does one even start to find a person from over 70 years ago? She typed "Thomas Allen World War II soldier" into the search bar and hit enter. At first, the results were overwhelming, so many records, so many possibilities. Clara sifted through countless articles, military archives, and obituaries, her eyes scanning for any clues. After an hour of searching, she found a small lead, a war memorial website that listed soldiers and their families. Among the entries was the name Thomas Allen from her grandmother's hometown. "This has to be him," Clara whispered to herself. She clicked on the name and found a brief biography. It mentioned that Thomas had returned from the war but had moved away shortly after. Further down there was a note about his descendants. It seemed Thomas had a grandson, Jack Allen, living just a few towns over. Clara felt a surge of hope. She quickly jotted down Jack's contact details and leaned back in her chair, the weight of her discovery sinking in. Meeting Jack could be the key to unraveling this decades-old mystery and bringing her grandmother some long-awaited closure. With renewed determination, Clara decided she would reach out to him the next morning. For now, she folded the letter carefully and placed it back in the envelope, a small smile tugging at her lips. She was getting closer. The next morning, Clara sat at her desk, staring at the phone number she had found. Her palms felt clammy as she rehearsed what she would say. What if Jack didn't want to talk about his grandfather? What if she was mistaken about Thomas being the same man from the letter? Pushing her doubts aside, she dialed the number. "Hello, this is Jack Allen," a cheerful voice answered. Clara took a deep breath. "Hi, Jack. My name is Clara. I believe your grandfather might have known my grandmother, Sophia, during World War II. There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Sophia," Jack said thoughtfully. "My grandfather did mention that name a couple of times. Is this about the letters he used to write during the war?" "Yes. I found one of those letters in my grandmother's old belongings," Clara replied, her excitement growing. "I'd love to meet you and learn more about his story. If that's okay with you, of course." Jack agreed to meet her later that day at a cozy cafe in town. When Clara arrived, she immediately recognized him from the photo she had seen on the memorial website. Jack was holding a small box. "I thought I'd bring this," Jack said, placing the box on the table. "It's my grandfather's keepsake box. He told me to keep it safe. Maybe it has something that could help." As they sifted through the box together, Clara felt a growing connection with Jack. Among the medals and faded photographs, they found another letter addressed to Sophia but never sent. It was clear Thomas had never forgotten her. "This confirms it," Clara said, her voice trembling. "Your grandfather and my grandmother were deeply connected." Jack smiled warmly. "Then let's figure out how to honor their story together." Clara and Jack sat together, examining the newly discovered letter. The faded handwriting spoke volumes of Thomas's feelings, regret, love, and hope for reconciliation. Clara's mind raced as she imagined her grandmother's reaction to this letter. She felt both excited and apprehensive. "I think my grandmother should see this," Clara said, clutching the paper gently. Jack nodded. "It's her story as much as it was my grandfather's. But are you sure she's ready for it?" That question lingered in Clara's mind as she returned home. Sophia was in her favorite armchair, a book resting on her lap. Her warm smile greeted Clara, but it faded slightly when she saw the familiar envelope in her granddaughter's hands. "Grandma," Clara began softly, kneeling by her side. "Jack, Thomas's grandson, and I found something." She handed over the letter. Sophia's hands trembled as she unfolded the paper. Her eyes scanned the words, tears welling up as memories resurfaced. He never forgot," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I think he wanted to find you too," Clara said, her hand resting on her grandmother's. But life got in the way. We can't change the past, but maybe we can bring some peace to it. Sophia hesitated, her emotions a whirlwind. Clara, some memories are better left untouched. They hurt too much. But they've also shaped who you are, Grandma, Clara replied gently. And maybe it's time to let those memories bring closure instead of pain. Sophia remained silent for a long moment, staring out the window. Finally, she nodded, a single tear rolling down her cheek. If Thomas is still out there, perhaps it's time to finally see him again. The day of the reunion arrived, and the air was thick with anticipation. Clara had arranged everything at a quiet park near her grandmother's house, a place Sophia loved for its serene beauty. The gentle rustle of leaves and the chirping of birds provided the perfect backdrop for what was about to unfold. Sophia, dressed in her finest lavender dress, sat on a bench, her hands tightly gripping a small embroidered handkerchief. Clara stood beside her, offering silent support. When Thomas appeared, assisted by Jack, time seemed to stand still. His once strong frame was now frail, but his eyes lit up with recognition and emotion as they fell on Sophia. "Sophia," he said, his voice trembling but filled with warmth. "Thomas," Sophia whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. Jack and Clara stepped aside to give them privacy as they sat together, decades of unspoken words flowing effortlessly between them. They spoke of their lives, their joys and sorrows, and the moments that had passed them by. Sophia showed him the letter she had kept all these years, and Thomas pulled out a faded photograph of her that he had carried in his wallet. "I never stopped thinking about you," Thomas said, his voice breaking. "And I never forgot you," Sophia replied, her smile bittersweet. The moment was both heart-wrenching and beautiful, a testament to the enduring power of love and memory. Clara watched from a distance, her heart swelling with emotion. She realized that this reunion wasn't just about closure. It was about celebrating the resilience of the human spirit. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the park, Sophia and Thomas shared a quiet moment of reflection. The years that had kept them apart no longer mattered. They had found each other again, even if only for this fleeting moment. Clara watched from a distance, her heart full of gratitude. She had witnessed something extraordinary, the rekindling of a connection that had stood the test of time. Her journey to uncover the truth had not only brought peace to her grandmother, but had also taught her valuable lessons. Later that evening, back at home, Sophia sat with Clara in the living room. Her hands rested gently on Clara's, a sense of calm radiating from her. "Thank you, Clara," Sophia said, her voice steady. "You gave me a gift I didn't know I needed. You taught me that it's never too late to face the past, no matter how painful it might seem." Clara smiled. "I think you've taught me just as much, Grandma. About love, about courage, and about living without regrets." Sophia nodded. "And remember, Clara, life is not just about the chapters that we lose, but also about the ones we have the courage to rewrite." The story had come full circle. For Clara, it was more than a family history. It was a reminder of the power of kindness, determination, and the bonds that unite generations. As they sat together, enveloped in the warmth of that moment, Clara felt a sense of fulfillment. This wasn't just Sophia's story anymore. It was theirs, woven together by love and a shared journey of discovery.